Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going over a quick at-home exercise regime for osteoporosis, which you can do in a safe manner, which is resistance, weight bearing and balance-based exercises to improve the bone mineral density from the home environment. I'll do another video explaining this later in the gym environment and the machines that should be used. However, if you're in the beginners to intermediate phase, these exercises can definitely help you from your own home. Let's do it. However, everyone may not be up to this level, so this exercise video is going to include the best exercises you should be doing for the bones with minimal equipment. You ideally need some weights from 2 kilos up to 10 kilos and a resistance band. Now, the first exercise is a squat, and this is super simple, where all you need is a chair, a bench, a stool, where you need to replicate the sit to stand or the squat mechanism. This exercise uses our fundamental movements and our muscle patterns that are most important to build in the lower back and the hip muscles. Now, a sit to stand, if you cannot do it standing, I highly recommend starting from a sitting position and standing up. From here, we can build, and we're doing a sit to stand from this position. Now from this, it's important to keep the knees in line with the toes, and we're doing a squat. Essentially, if you can, just keep doing the squat without coming to a rest on the chair. Now with the hands, they can be placed in any position you prefer. However, the main focus is not letting your knees cave inwards where it's putting more stress on the knees and the hips. They need to be pushed out against the resistance of the band and performing the squat. Once you've done this, I would highly recommend adding weight to the load. Now this is where it gets interesting, because you have to progress safely and take advice from your healthcare professional for this. Progress safely in weight, where you're still able to perform the movement for 6 to 10 reps of 4 sets, nice and safely. What we don't want is a hinge squat where you're going too deep. What we don't want is the knees caving inwards and you're doing a squat like this. You should be using these hip muscles to keep the knees open, and you're doing a nice squat. Now for this next exercise, we're going to be using the glutes, the hamstrings and the lower back muscles. To start with, you can use the end of a chair, or you can be using a good old-fashioned broomstick at home. I personally prefer this, so you can control your balance while doing these exercises. Now I want you to start by kicking the leg backwards. Ensure you've got an upright, erect posture. You're not doing this lean forward as you go to kick back. So upright, and you're using your leg to balance on the right, and your left leg's kicking backwards. This is going to be primarily using our glute muscles, our lower back, and then the hamstrings. From here, we do 8 reps on one side before moving to the next side. That's nice and slow. Do not let the band pull you back in. That is to be doing our hip extensor muscles. Now to be doing our hip abductors on the side, we need to be standing in front and bring the leg out to the side. Now it's important you maintain your balance and not try to wobble. You stay upright again and use your hip and leg muscles on both sides. You will start to feel this in your leg and your glute muscles and even your lower back. The final one to do with the band is to be putting the band around your feet. You can still use the pole or the chair in front of you. And from here, it's marching on the spot. So we're primarily going to be using our rectus abdominis, our core muscles, and our hip flexors. From here, we're going to be marching on the spot, and it's nice and slow, controlled. What we don't want is the foot and the knee coming inwards to lift up and across our body. Use your hip muscles to control out, and then we're up and up. Once again, keeping the posture upright, primarily using the core and the lower legs, which is starting to fatigue my lower legs now. This will depend on the resistance of the band. So I've got a large intensity resistance, strong resistance band here. I highly recommend starting with a low resistance to an intermediate and then to a greater resistance band. The next exercise is the press, the overhead press, where we're using some weight and we're pushing the weight above our head. Now this can be done with a dumbbell, a broomstick to start the movement, or we can move towards using a dumbbell, a barbell, or some sort of weight where we can press it above our head. I know people have started with water bottles, 1 kilo of water bottles to then press above our head. You can start with just a normal weight and you can press the weight above your head, nice and slow. Now, if you can get overhead completely, that will be great, but do not put too much stress on your lower back. I like to hold a mini squat. So we're keeping the core engaged and then we're pressing overhead. With time, you'll be able to progress in weight, and you hold that position to press the weight above your head. Now the next exercise I'm going through is the pull, which is what we need to do for our upper back. Any exercise where we're doing a pull apart, we're doing a row, a high row, any type of straight arm pull will involve the back muscles, which is important to correcting that posture, which is from the upper back that is often curled in hyperkyphosis into more erect. Now we see lots of people as they start to get wedge fractures or the bones start to degenerate, we see them lean forward, and this puts you at a risk of falls because your center of gravity is now leaning forward. To improve those muscles on the back, it is highly beneficial to improve back strength muscles by doing a row. A simple low row, a high row where we're pulling at our shoulder height, low row where we're pulling lower, or pull apart or a rear fly. Starts to target our mid to low to high back muscles, which is important for strengthening the upper back endurance extensor muscles. Now with this, you can increase resistance by walking away from the band to increase the intensity. Or if you're in a gym or a different setting where you have a row machine, it is nice and slow controlled. This is not rowing where we sit down on the cardio machine. We're doing a quick row. This is slow controlled resistance at a low level and a high level. You can do a ski row, which is a straight arm pull back. If the row starts to hurt your hands by tying the band too tight around your wrist or your fingers, then you can use the broomstick once again. Now what that means is putting the broomstick through the resistance band that is tied off to a pole, a pillar, a door handle, any type of support beam to allow your resistance to pull you forward, so you have to pull it back. I like to hold a semi-squat here, and we got the low row again, or high row where you're using your upper back muscles. Now, mindful of shoulder injuries, do be careful if they start to hurt. We can go to a lower hand grip, which I highly recommend for shoulder bursitis or rotator cuff injuries where we've got a low row which isn't straining or internally rotating our shoulder joint. Now this low row can be done nice and simple by pulling towards you while keeping the body upright. If you were doing the underhand grip with the rows, we could be doing up to 10 repetitions of 4 sets. Now, if we had weights or resistance coming from behind, we could be doing pushing forward. Now, some of my clients do that with the resistance bands where they press forward. This is quite difficult to sometimes organize or have, but you can wrap a band around our back and we're pressing forward. Once again, holding that semi-squat position to engage our core and engage the legs. Now, this is a press type mechanism that I would be happy for you to do, or we can turn it into a press on a chair. What this looks like is a semi push-up where you're holding a nice straight line and you're bending the arms to go into a press. The recommendation for that again is watching your posture, keep a straight line by doing 8 reps, 4 sets. The final one was the impact and balance exercise, which I like to merge together. You can do them separate. Now impact, think of skipping on the one foot, a box jump from a normal position. You can be doing any impact in this straight up and down gravity compression position. Now, someone at high risk, be very careful of this because it is a lot of compression on the spine. However, in a static position, you can just do a simple jump. You could start with going up on the tippy toes and drop onto the heels as a heel drop, or little jumps. And you sort of do make that noise on the floor because that is the impact and the vibration that comes through the body that can help stimulate the bone. I like to use a cushion, a balance beam, a pillow, a towel, anything you can use where you can change your balance and it will make you work harder to keep on top of that position. So from here, you could do a single leg balance and hop off onto one leg, and then hop back on, hold the balance and back down. And then I would be doing 5 on one side and 5 on the other. So holding that balance, stepping off, stepping back on. Your main impact is when we land on the opposite foot. The balance part that starts to work is when we land back on the cushion, which challenges the domain of our balance. You can turn this into a more impact exercise where you can sort of jump on and then jump off. You can jump on to 2 feet jump off 1. If you need to, you can start using 2 feet for all. So step on 2 feet, step off 2 feet, step on 2 feet, and step off. Okay, that's our balance and our impact. From here, you can do a more advanced jump where I would say you can bend and off to the side, and then jump and then back down, on and then off. Your impact onto the floor is going on, and stimulation, where you're coming back onto the cushion, it's more balance. There's some of my top exercises that I would highly recommend you to start, where it involves a press, a push overhead, a row, a squat, and some balance involved in all of that. Best of luck. Let me know how you go. I'll do another video for further progression soon. Thank you.